Any progress as it relates to Mr. Greenwood? The fans want to know.
No, nothing on that. You know,
So, Mr. Chung, as it relates to traveling, we've seen a lot of hiccups in the past, players being left at airport, stranded at airport, players being asked to pay for baggage. It seemed to be a lot of problem with traveling, especially with the last GenSec. I think that's one of the main faults that he had. As a new GenSec, what are you planning to do differently so that you don't, follow in the same footsteps?
Yeah.
Greetings, sports fans. Welcome back to Edivision, the channel where we look at sports differently. Now, today we'll be taking a different look and we'll be diving into the JFF. I'm here with, I have a very special guest, Mr. Dennis Chung, GenSec of the JFF. Mr. Chung, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fine. First of all, I must congratulate you on your new post at the JFF.
Yeah, man. I'm not seeing you anymore, though.
Let's get into it. Congrats again on the Adidas deal. And how long will this deal run for?
It's a 4-year deal. So it runs up to 2026. That's about the World Cup structured that way.
Yeah, we had a wonderful launch of the kit last Monday, I believe. Great response, great turnout in England. Tell us more about
that. Yeah, that was an international launch and it really went well. Because in the first 3 or 4 hours the site crashed. A lot of people going on and buying the gear, which is good. We welcome that. It also shows the impact that Jamaica and JFF has globally. I mean, I myself think of JFF as a global company because we have so many persons overseas who actually follow us, and we deal with people from overseas. We have to do logistics from all over the world. We have to deal with people from all over the world. On Tuesday coming up, we are going to have our own sort of mini launch in Jamaica.
That was my follow-up question.
Yeah, so we're gonna just have our local people talking about it. The president, myself, and the new coach is going to be speaking on Tuesday and discussing the whole thing about the Adidas launch and plans for the JFF, because we have the women in the World Cup this year. We're playing under 17 now, which we're through to the second round. Boys are playing very well.
Yeah.
And we're going into the under 20 women's qualifier. So if the under 17 and the under 20 women actually make it to the World Cup this year, it means that in 1 year we'd have 3 teams at the World Cup, 3 different teams at the World Cup, which is tremendous. It's a significant accomplishment, if we can achieve that. So we're working towards that. And Adidas has been a good brand for us, a good partner. So we're hoping to forge an even stronger tie with Adidas.
All right, you spoke about the local launch. Will there be jerseys on sale?
No, everything is sold online. There's a shipment coming for sale in Jamaica, but that's not here yet. But everything is available online, and people have been buying what they have online. A lot of people have been buying it, internationally and also in Jamaica. And as you know, I mean, most people buy things online now, with all these shipping agencies and all of these things around the place. I mean,
that's true.
A lot of people just go on their phone and they buy online. So, really and truly, that is the biggest way for us to sell the jerseys.
What benefits are we looking forward to as it relates to the sponsorship deal?
Well, we get sponsorship from Adidas. We also get a percentage of sales. Then I can't disclose what the amount is because we're under agreement, and there are confidentiality clauses in it. But we do get a big boost. It's certainly at the JFF from this. And I mean, the fact that you're running with Adidas, which is one of the two largest companies in the world, um, yeah, there's a lot of benefit to it. So we're
Mm-hmm.
we're we're saying to Jamaicans, and Jamaican supporters, just buy the jersey. The JFF gets a percentage of the sales. So by buying the jersey, it's twofold. You support us in terms of wearing the color, and wearing the actual outfit, and also, well, threefold because you look good in it, right? Number
Mm-hmm.
two, and number three, the JFF actually gets some funding from it. So we're encouraging people to just buy it.
And how much is that percentage?
I can't say what the percentage is, but
Twenty.
it is significant for us,
All right.
you know.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Mr. Chung. What is your favorite kit? Is it the away or the home?
But I love the both of them. I really don't have any favorite.
Yeah.
The away looks great, in terms of the black. A lot of people love that. But I also
Mm-hmm.
love the Jamaican colors, the gold and the green stripe in it. So the both of them look very good. Give any one of them you give me, I'll wear it. This what I'm wearing now also is another one of the Adidas wear
Mm-hmm.
you know. So there are a few things, that's there, and this is one of them. Um, but everything in the whole kit, the whole wardrobe looks good. Everything looks good.
Now, we see that the U-17 boys are through to the round of 16. Thoughts on this? Can we qualify for the World Cup?
I think we can. I mean, the boys are strong, you know. Um, I think they got two unfortunate red cards that set them back.
True.
I don't really think they should have got it, you know, and it changed the whole complexion because when you're playing against quality teams, when you're down one man, it is very significant.
Yeah, man, it shows.
Especially like, when you look at the Guadeloupe match, we're down one man for 30 minutes, you know, and a lot of people would say, well, the coach need to change. Remember, that the team that you're playing on wants to score as much as you want to score, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
training very hard too. And when you don't one man, it means that everybody has to run 10% more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that is a big blow, especially when you're talking about youngsters at under 17. You're talking about asking them to put out 10% more effort, as youngsters, I mean, if it was a senior men's team, for example, I think that maybe they could have coped with it a little better. But youngsters you're talking about, the red card would have affected them psychologically also, at least immediately, because by the next game they were up and they were running, and it unfortunately occurred again. That cannot be something good, for the youngsters.
And Mr. Chung, unfortunately, the boys almost didn't make it to Central America. We are all aware of the mishap with the traveling arrangements
Yeah.
and stuff. What is in place to make sure that doesn't happen again? What are the mitigation plans that you have in place?
Well, I mean, these things happen, you know. It was really a problem of poor management of the situation that caused it. Um, I don't know if there's much more that could be done. All the travel arrangements were there, all the checkoffs and everything were done before the conversations needed to happen. But it was just a poor management decision, that or action that caused the problem, because the flights were booked. Luckily, when it happened, I didn't focus on what was happening at the time. what we did, and I certainly jumped on the phone, thanks to Jamaica Tourist Board, putting me in contact with Copa, thanks to Latoya Scott from Copa, who got on it right away, and asked a larger aircraft to be sent to accommodate the boys. So, really, really big up to Copa Airlines for that, because that I know is not a decision that is taken lightly, to send a bigger aircraft. I know the cost implications and all of that. So finally we got the boys there. The boys got there in good spirits. I went to the airport with them, checked them in, and they assured me, they said, listen, this is not going to set us back. We're going to win the first match. And surely they did. There's some laps, um, in the first three matches, there seemed to be a lapse in the last 15 minutes, where the goals are being scored, 2 goals each time. I'm sure the coaching staff is looking at that. But overall, I'm very proud of the coaches, very proud of the players. Players show a lot of heart. Remember, these are youngsters, and to show that sort of determination,
Fight.
I mean, it's just remarkable, I think.
Is the travel agent still Mr. Blair?
Yeah, Mr. Blair is our travel consultant. So, when I came in, I met with him, looked at what he was doing. I was pretty satisfied with what he's doing. So what he will do is that he will call around to the various travel agencies for us, and and put everything together for us, select the best prices for us, ensure that we see all the prices that he has, and we select which one is the best one, because we have to think about not just price. Price is always important,
Comfort.
but also how we're going to route the players there. So you could get a really cheap flight, but you end up taking 3 or 4 planes, as opposed to one that, costs a little more, but you take 1 or 2 planes. You have to consider that, because at the end of the day, a player who spends more time up in the air is going to be more tired, when they land. So, those are some of the things to consider. The other thing to consider why, I decided that Mr. Blair is someone that we want to go with, is that he understands the travel logistics. When you're talking about moving 30 players from all over the world, it's not easy, right? And to get someone to actually sit down and do that and compare prices is not something that's very easy to do, right? I mean, if you think about yourself alone, even you as an individual doing the comparison of various flights to go in one single destination, it can be a lot, So I think it's a special skill, and he has been doing it well. Yeah, I haven't had a problem with him. Gets the best prices for us, gets within budget. So, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
So, Mr. Chung, as it relates to traveling, we've seen a lot of hiccups in the past, players being left at airport, stranded at airport, players being asked to pay for baggage. It seemed to be a lot of problem with traveling, especially with the last GenSec. I think that's one of the main faults that he had. As a new GenSec, what are you planning to do differently so that you don't, follow in the same footsteps?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I have this travel consultant, Mr. Blair. I mean, I don't think he was being used. That was how it was supposed to be. So we do plan things in advance to them. So like a month before, we'll do the booking. So for the under 17s, for example, all the bookings were done 1 month before, right? So we do that. We also have a checklist, so I'll sit down with the managers and say, let's go through everything that needs to be done, right? So the baggage and all of those things, we provide all the money for them. So even though we will pay for some baggage, we also provide incidental money. if people need to pay for baggage, right? We have an equipment manager who handles everything, right? So we try to eliminate the risk as much as possible by putting all of those things in place. So, I mean, the situation that occurred with the under-17 was not the lack of planning for the travel. That's not what caused the problem. It really was a human error that caused the problem, but everything else was in place. Right now, we pay per diem for all the players up front, you know. So we try to cover all bases before, right? We have good managers in place, that look at everything, and I think that we have a very good system now to deal with that. I mean, we've done quite a few traveling since I became GenSec last year, and we're really trying to put everything in place. The logistics of it, though, we're going to make an error at one point in time because you're talking about moving 30 people from all over the world. And from time to time, like going to Australia, for example, 2 players got injured. We had to bring in 2 late players, right? Immediately, because we have Mr. Blair, he's just focusing on that. We just sent to him, hey, Mr. Blair, we have these situation with these 2 players. Can you substitute these 2? Right? Immediately the search starts, right? But it's difficult. And the fact of the matter is that traveling nowadays, post-COVID, is not as easy as it was before. Flights are not as readily available. Flights are more expensive. We have to consider all of those things.
But Mr. Chung, you spoke about moving players across the world, and you're likely to make errors. But if you look at the athletics program, athletes travel to the Olympics, so don't hear about any hiccups. Other national teams travel, we don't hear anything. It's only the JFF, it seems like we're having a problem with.
Well, I don't know what happens with the athletics team. I'm sure that you must have some issues, right? The other thing about the JFF and the football too is that you have people coming from different clubs, right? Sometimes, they have an obligation they have to fulfill. Knock on wood, we really haven't had any major issue. But sometimes what happens too is that people cancel, right? Whereas in athletics, if somebody doesn't turn up, they're just not a starter in the race. You need 11 people to play football.
You have to replace them.
Yeah, you have to replace them. So in athletics, if someone is not traveling, they're just not traveling, and they don't run. In football, you need a team. And you not only need a team, you need specific positions to go. So if 2 forwards drop out, for example, you can't get 2 defenders and send them. You have to make sure you get 2 forwards to replace them. You need that balance in the team at all times. So because it's a team sport, it makes it a little more difficult. Now, you might say, well, there are other national teams that don't have the problem. The truth is that they don't have the size and the breadth that JFF has, right? All over the place. We're talking about players from Russia, players from Israel, players from UK, right? All over the world, Jamaica, the MLS, and then where they're going, you have to be routing all of these players from all over the world. The other day when we have the problem in Ukraine, for example, 2 players had a difficulty coming.
Yeah, Shamar.
Yeah, Shamar was one of them. So, I mean, and as I said, we're trying everything to ensure there's no issue, right? So we will always do the arrangements before, right? We'll always do the arrangements. And then the other thing to consider is that when you're talking about travel for 30 people or 30-something people, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not chicken feed. It's a lot of money, for just some travel arrangements alone.
Any progress as it relates to Mesa Greenwood? The fans want to know.
No, nothing on that. When someone called me about it, I was saying, hey, from my perspective, if someone is acquitted, I'd have a problem. But that's not my decision. That's the decision for the coach.
Coach.
Coaches will make that decision. So I was just speaking basically as a layperson, seeing him play, and I said, boy, this is a really nice player, but it's a coaching decision.
We struggle over the past as it relates to getting sponsorship. Any update on that and potential sponsorship?
Yeah, we're getting more people showing interest now. For example, a pharmacy reached out to us, and we just basically tied up a deal where the pharmacy will provide medical supplies for the teams, because every team has to have first aid supplies.
Yeah.
So we tied up that deal. We always have with Cinco with us with water. God bless them. They've really provided a gap, fill a gap for us with the hydration. Stewards with the bus that we got, and all the vehicles they've given us in the past. SDF continues to give us funding, really appreciate that. And we've had Pegasus and Holiday Inn, that has chipped in with some good rates on the hotels, and we really appreciate that. And we're working on some more. We have some other people that we're trying to get deals tied up with. We have Leon Mitchell, who was at Jamaica National. He's seconded to us, and Leon is really doing a good job in terms of putting together a proper marketing plan. He's the person with his team that's organizing the launch that we're having on Monday, our little mini launch on Monday, which is really a press conference about it. And we're targeting certain companies, right? As I said, we have some people who have expressed some interest, in coming on. So we're looking at the fit, looking at how we can bring people on. And this is a great year, for people to be on, because you're talking about World Cup, possibly
year.
3 World Cups.
Gold Cup.
Possibly 3 World Cups, World Cup, Nations League. It's a busy period, and we're gonna just see as much as possible as we can get. But one of the things I must say, the support from FIFA and CONCACAF also is tremendous. It's significant. So we're pulling everything together. It's early days, but we're still trying to pull everything together and see how best, we can position it.
Yeah, Mr. Chung, I'm happy to hear that, long overdue. I'm extremely happy to know that, we're getting some form of corporate support. A lot of persons coming on board. All right, folks, I want to thank Mr. Dennis Chung, General Secretary of the JFF, Jamaica Football Federation, for joining us today. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. All right. No problem.
All right. And all the best this year.
Thank you.
And hope
thank you.
Have a good 2023.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
This is Owen Hill from PFJL, CEO of Professional Football Jamaica Limited, home of the Jamaica Premier League, the Gold Cup, and the El Clasicos. You're watching Eddie Vision. Please ensure to like, share, and subscribe. The baddest thing around town.